Vampires in books are back and I am here for it. When I dreamed up making this video, I had planned to do an introduction all about how all of the fun things from the 90s were making a comeback, like all of the fashion and the gladiators and vampires in books. So that was going to be the theme of this reading vlog. I thought, yeah, that would be a really fun way to introduce it. I work at university, so I'm loving all of the fashion choices at the moment, all of the wide-leg jeans, and I even met a student a couple of weeks ago who was wearing buffalo trainers, remember those? And I pointed them out and she thought I was really cool. I was like, no, I'm just that old. So anyway, my plan was to introduce this video about vampires in books making a comeback by talking about how all fun things from the 90s are making a comeback. Little did I know that I would actually be filming this introduction for you as the actual living dead. I am at the tail end of having had COVID and I'm feeling awful. As your literal living dead host today, I am going to be reading 3 books about vampires, which I'm super excited about. Vampires really went out of fashion in literature for the longest time, and what a shame, because they're such a great trope. So I have picked 3 books off my shelves that I'm really excited to read. So the first I have is Fragile Animals by Genevieve Jagger. This is out by 404 Ink Press. It's set in Scotland. It's described as gorgeous and gothic. It's about somebody who's working in like a B&B who has what's described in the blurb as a sexual relationship with a vampire. Now I've seen lots of reviews where they say like actually the relationship is really minimal, or the sexual relationship or the romantic relationship is really minimal. But she's from this kind of like Catholic upbringing. She's a hotel cleaner and she starts going on walks with a man who claims to be a vampire, and it's about their budding relationship and what that makes her confront from her past, and what, yeah, I think that's it. But I thought it sounds great, and the coolest thing is there's a feather in the pages that the publisher sent me with the book, so I'm really intrigued about Fragile Animals. The next up I have is Bad Vibrations by Lucy Leitner. This sounds hilarious. It's about somebody who goes on like a wellness retreat, and they have screaming yoga, screaming hula hoop yoga and dynamic meditation to expel toxins, but the yogi in charge of this particular retreat proclaims the virtues of drinking blood for one's well-being. So that sounds really good fun. In this shot glass of blood on the front it says sex, yoga and blood. And then the third book that I have to read is Pyramidia by Stephanie Sanders Jacob. I saw Sean at Pastory Time reading this and added it straight to my wish list and into my basket because it sounds like a really good time. Excuse me please. So it's about a pyramid scheme and involves vampires. I think it sounds like a load of fun. I don't think I need to know much more than that. An enigmatic group of women selling wellness in the form of serenity, tea spelled T-E-A, with their perfect hair, flawless skin and piercing eyes. She is drawn to the tea, the wellness, the tranquility. So what if she has to sell a few bags of tea? Yeah, so those are my 3 books that I plan to read in this vlog, all books with bite. I hope you enjoy reading along with me, and I really hope that I'm not this snotty, groggy, rundown mess for very much longer. started this video, I have been, well, working from home, but otherwise rotting with COVID. I'm still a bit snotty, but mostly feeling better, and it's been more than 10 days since I first tested positive, so I'm just trying slowly to rejoin the land of the living. I'm just on my way into town to pop to the library because I've got a book that I want to take back, and I might have a bit of a browse. But I have started Fragile Animals, and I have to say I'm really enjoying it. I'm only a couple of chapters in. So we're following Noelle, who is a cleaner from Edinburgh, who is also a published poet. She's trying to write her second book, but is struggling, so she's taken herself off to a remote B&B in Scotland. And when she arrives, she was hoping to be the only guest. She finds that her B&B actually has 2 rooms, and the other room is occupied by Moses. And Moses gets chatting to her, and on the first night tells her he is a vampire. And they're just kind of like hanging out, I guess. It's really Noelle's musings about her state of mind and kind of writer's block and so on. She's kind of a messy protagonist, which I like. The writing style is a real sweet spot between lyrical and conversational, which I'm really enjoying. That's very much doing it for me. So yeah, it's a really good book so far. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I'll keep you posted as and when I finish. Just pulling up at the car park, so depending on how busy it is, because I am still very self-conscious about filming in public, I may or may not show you around the library. I have just popped into M&S while I'm out and about to grab a sandwich for lunch, and picked up my favourite, which is the best ever prawn sandwich, and they are absolutely right. It is the most superior sandwich out there. It is the best ever. And for those of you who, like me, still mourn the loss of the podcast The High Low, which was hosted by Dolly Alderton and Pandora Sykes, they also talked about the virtues of this sandwich. And yeah, they are women of superior tastes, so we're all right, essentially, is what I'm saying. Best sandwich ever. Please can we normalise day drinking with vampires and swapping stories of past lovers? Because that's essentially a lot of what this book ended up being. I finished Fragile Animals by Genevieve Jagger and had a really good time with this. It's a literary take on a vampire trope. So our main character Noelle is running away from her circumstances, and she takes herself off to a remote island in Scotland to stay in a B&B. There she's met with an overbearing B&B owner who's a fantastic character, and our vampire. He discloses that to her almost in their first conversation, I think, really quickly, and she's not sure how seriously to take that, but they kind of go on walks and go to the pub and do a bit of day drinking together and just swap stories of past lovers. As those conversations unfold, we get more and more about Noelle's history and the reason that she's kind of running from herself, essentially. So she was brought up in a Catholic household, and the circumstances around her parents separating led her to feel very betrayed by the Catholic Church. It also transpires that she has had queer relationships, and her feelings around that, tied up in all of her kind of Catholic shame and guilt, have really tied her up in really massive knots, and that's essentially what this book ends up being about. The thing that I thought that was really clever about using a vampire to tell this story was that if you imagine a vampire is like the symbol of all things evil. They are living dead, they drink your blood, they are the spawn of Satan, right? And this vampire essentially holds up a mirror to Noelle, who is feeling all of this self-hatred, guilt and shame about who she is as a gay woman because of her Catholic upbringing. And that juxtaposition between, you know, that symbol of evil and all things wrong in the world being so accepting of who she is. I think that was the postman. Of being so accepting of all she is. Excuse me, sir. It's just the postman. That's enough. Come and lie down. Yeah, so this vampire who's the symbol of all evil is so accepting of her, and just shines this mirror, is essentially just this blank canvas for her to explore who she is without judgment, without all of that like noise from that she's had from her parents and from the church and from her school days and other people's judgment. Essentially, he just provides a quiet space for her to see all of that. I thought it was really clever. I don't think I've articulated that really well, but give it a read and see what you think. It was a bit gross in places, like she used a bit of like ick, describing bodily functions, only a little, because I really wouldn't be into that if you described a book as having that. Like, I won't touch a Tessa Moshfegh, for example, for that reason. But it was only a little. But I guess that's, you know, a way of making you as a reader feel a bit unsettled. But yeah, I thought this was a cracking read. Great start. Next up, I'm moving on to a wellness retreat with Bad Vibrations by Lucy Leitner. Hello, it is Monday. I have not done very much reading for this vlog. I've just still read Fragile Animals. I did the Amazing Readathon in June, which is really good fun, but it's a lot of reading, and I did it in August last year. It was held in August last year, and I can remember September being really slumpy afterwards. So I want to avoid that, so I'm not pushing myself. But yeah, this is turning into a much longer vlog for 3 relatively short vlogs. So it's a day off today. I didn't do very much over the weekend, just lots of family stuff. Catching up with all of the various parentals, and visited my grandmother. Thank you, Sam. I've got some jobs to do today. Walk dogs being one of them. I need to go to the pharmacy because I have a leaky eye situation. It's the 1st of July, so I want to redo my vision board that I keep as my phone background. What else have I got to do today? Tesco. And this evening I am going to an extra thing with my singing group. It's a very low-key singing group. It's not a serious thing. But one of the group has her 30th birthday in a couple of weeks, and so we're secret squirrels recording a song we're going to sing for her and dedicate to her, doing Belter by Jerry Cinnamon. So I'm very excited about that. So we're doing that this evening. I have woken up to, in addition to my leaky eye situation, a bit of a kind of high anxiety day. My brain's doing that thing where it quick fires loads of really shit memories at you to show you what an arsehole you are. Anxiety brain is a real bitch, isn't it? So yeah, I'm hoping a good stomp around the woods and a few kind of self-care-y bits today will help keep the anxiety at bay. I've no idea what I'm going to show you today. We'll see. Maybe all of it, maybe none of it. But hopefully some reading. Okay. This is really shit. I'm most of the way through Bad Vibrations by Lucy Leitner and it's awful. It's not about a wellness retreat or vampires, actually. It's about a cult. I mean, it's almost so bad it's good. It's just completely ridiculous. Look, it's not winning any literary awards. The characters are all parody, and the plot is, you really have to suspend your disbelief quite significantly. But it's so silly, it's almost enjoyable. And it's really short, so if you're into cult stuff, then that it might be worth doing, but it's not about vampires or a well-being retreat at all. You alright? You okay, hun? That's charming, Samuel. So yeah, looking forward to scratching that off my TBR and trying the other book, which is what's the other book that I've got left to read, Bam Bam? Pyramidia. Wow. Brain is very much on a go slow, evidently. Pyramidia. Looking forward to getting going with that. Weirdly, it's only becoming available on Spotify audio in about a week's time. So I don't know if it's only just being released in the UK. Maybe I bought it from America. No idea. But yes, Pyramidia is up next, and I think I'm very much ready to move on from Bad Vibrations to that. Okay, very quick update. I have completely finished Bad Vibrations. It was as bad as I thought it was going to be. The plot is ropey, the characters are all parody, and I didn't think it worked for me in a good way. And the writing was pretty dire. Like at the end of maybe 2 or 3 chapters, they finished with "and then bang" or "and then pop," like as if a loud noise is the only way to write a cliffhanger. Yeah, it was ridiculous and silly. I mean, if you're somebody who really loves reading books about cults and has read everything else out there, then maybe try this. But yeah, it's not a recommendation from me. And the next book now that I have picked up and read 1 chapter of so far, which already is much better written, is Pyramidia by Stephanie Sanders Jacob. This was read by Sian on Past Story Time, and I don't think she loved it, but her description really piqued my interest and I thought it sounded like a bit of a silly good time. I'm hoping this is going to deliver what Bad Vibrations didn't. I am on my lunch break, so I guess that's perhaps why I'm rushing. I have book club tonight, book club number 2, and we are discussing In Memoriam by Alice Wynne, which I really enjoyed. I hadn't picked it up otherwise because it was so hyped, and that's a massive turn off for me. But when the book club chose it, I thought I'd give it a go, and I'm really pleased that I did. You know, it lived up to the hype. It was wonderful. So we're talking about that tonight, and yeah, I'm hoping this looks like it's got really short chapters, so I'm hoping it's going to be a super quick read, but I'll keep you posted on how I get on with it. Good morning. You will probably have worked out that this blurry-eyed situation this morning is due to a hen situation that I went to yesterday. It was my partner's niece's hen do in Cardiff, and things escalated pretty quickly. I had every intention, so I didn't know anybody else going. I didn't know anybody there apart from the hen, and we went for a bottomless brunch, and as soon as, you know, the first £7 cocktail was ordered and then the bottomless brunch started, yeah, all got a bit of out of hand. I was fully intending to do the brunch and, you know, kind of like be there to support Jess and then kind of moonwalk out and leave them all to it. But I ended up staying right up until a Chippy Alley finish. And if you're a Cardiff vet or anybody who's ever been out in Cardiff, if you haven't been to Chippy Lane, you're missing out. If you know, you know. We also went out a little bit along Mill Lane, which was a bit of nostalgia for me. None of the clubs that I used to frequent down there, the Red Rooms and Maloco's, are still there, but yeah, we had a nice time anyway, and I made it home in one piece, and I am
not feeling as delicate as I probably should this morning, actually, all things considered. So we'll take that as a win. It's Sunday today. I had planned to do absolutely nothing, but our local garden centre has a 20% off sale on plants and I want to go looking for a bay tree. So I'm going to go do that shortly. But the very exciting thing that has happened this morning is that Willow Talks Books has just uploaded a video called The Legacy of the Vampire, and it's fan-freaking-tastic. I've just started it, but her interrogation of this topic and the trope of vampires and where it all kind of stems from so far has been really, really brilliant. She's made a super video, so I'm enjoying watching that, and it's, you know, really perfectly timed. I am reading painfully slowly. I probably shouldn't have started a themed reading vlog straight after the amazing readathon. I sound like Barry White. It's my voice. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have started a themed reading vlog straight after the amazing readathon, because that was an awful lot of intensive reading and I've just slowed right down. None of these books have been difficult to read. They've all been really easy reading, but I'm just being very slow, and I'm enjoying Pyramidia very much. The chapters though are really short, which normally I would be on board with, but what I'm finding, given my slightly slumpy situation, is that I'm reading a few pages, a chapter, and then getting distracted by something else and putting it down. So every time I pick it up, I'm only getting through a small chunk, but that's okay. Progress is progress, and yeah, I'll persevere. Like I say, I'm enjoying it. She's just, our main character has moved to a small town and a cabin, and she's encountered this really keen woman who's part of a pyramid scheme for clothes, and she's only just come across the Serenity woman selling their pyramid scheme tea. About to find out how she gets embroiled in all of that. So hungover. I'm too old for this shit. Right, I may take you to the garden centre. I'll see you again shortly. Hopefully by the time I've finished this book and we can wrap this bad boy up.
It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years.
It's been the longest vlog ever. It's taken me bloody ages to read 3 books. What is going on? And yes, your ears do not deceive you. I'm bloody ill again. I had COVID, I got better, I had an eye thing, I got better, and now I've got some sort of cold. What have I done? I've been cursed. Anyway, enough about me. How are you? I've finished Pyramidia by Stephanie Sanders Jacob. What do I say about this? It was definitely a whole lot better than Bad Vibrations. It gave me the reading experience I was expecting from Bad Vibrations, actually. It was a bit rompy, a bit silly, and it had that kind of like tongue-in-cheek look at the wellness industry. So our main character moves to a small town. She gets drawn into this pyramid scheme selling serenity, which is rejuvenating. This is what I need right now, isn't it? I need some serenity in my life. And yeah, it turns out some of the women organising all of that pyramid schemey stuff are vampires. We don't get to that until quite a long way into the book. It was a little bit, I was about to say it was a little bit Grady Hendrix, Southern Girls Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, or that's a long title, isn't it? I don't know if I quite got that right. Please don't compare that book to this, but what I mean by that is that book had quite a long, protracted, drawn out intro to like the actual vampire stuff, and then it went hard at the end. This did a similar thing. They're not similar books, they're not in the same league, just to be super clear. But I had an alright time with this, actually. It was fine, and like I say, it kind of gave me what I was craving, which was something a little bit silly, a bit rompy, and kind of taking the piss out of the wellness industry a little bit. The thing that bothered me was, I don't know how bothered I should be about this, but the main character is a school teacher, and she teaches what's described as what are they called? She teaches the gifted and talented students at the school literature. Okay, so we can infer from that that she's fairly well educated and well read. However, there's a couple of times in this book where she sort of plays dumb, and it doesn't quite fit with the character. So for example, when she first goes to meet the person trying to draw her into the pyramid scheme of selling the tea, she asks, you know, like, what's in it? And they're described as this, you know, intoxicating blend of botanicals. And she thinks to herself, oh, and I pretended to know what a botanical was. Like, if you're a teacher teaching secondary school children literature in a gifted and talented setting, I'm pretty sure you know what the word botanical means, right? And there was another occasion where she described the tea to the women as immaculate because she wanted to sound clever. Like, and again, like, she would know that that was the wrong word to use, and she would hopefully have a decent vocabulary to be able to choose something else if she wanted to sound impressive. There was a couple of things like that where it was just a bit like, that doesn't fit, which was a bit jarring. I'm really picking holes because actually, other than that, it was fine. It was a good time. There were some fun characters, and the ending was a bit wild, and I was here for that. So we have finished Pyramidia, and we've made it to the end of what has been the longest vlog, completely unintentionally. I don't remember if I've told you, because it's been a long time since I've checked in, and there have been many clips and I remember not what I have said. But I did the amazing readathon in June, which is really good fun. I did it last year in August, but it was in June this year. It's really good fun, but it's a lot of reading in quite an intense and pacey way. And so I've got a bit of a hangover from that, I think. And so reading has slowed to not a stop or a slump, but it's slowed significantly. So it probably wasn't a great idea to start a reading vlog straight after that. But here we are living with the consequences of our decisions. So let's wrap up. We have had the good, the bad, the ridiculous. So it's been a mixed success of a vlog, I think, for these. What I will say though is, if you are interested in understanding a bit more about vampires in literature and the role that they've played in literature and how that's evolved over time, I'd really recommend checking out Willow's video. She's put it out as I've been filming this very long vlog, and it's perfectly timed. So if you would like to know more about how we got from these to these, then check out Willow's video. It's absolutely fantastic. I would like to say thank you very much for being here. I have got other books. I have got other books with vampires in, and so I hope to do this again, but I promise, I really hope not to be ill for the whole of it, and I promised to make it a bit more pacey and on theme and interesting. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching along. I really appreciate you and your time, and yeah, take really good care.